Now the next question is question number 139. The water soluble pigments which are found in plant cell vacuoles are xanthophylls or chlorophylls or carotenoids or anthocyanins. So this is from the chapter Cell, the Unit of Life. We have described about the plastids which are present in the plant cell. So what is the correct answer among this? That is the option number 4, anthocyanin. So anthocyanin is the correct answer. Now let us move on to the next question. Now the next question is select the correct statement. This is the 140 questions and the options are given and you have to choose the correct one. So option number 1 is gymnosperm are both homosporous and heterosporous. Well, this is not the correct answer. Then let us see the next statement that states that Salvinia, Jingo and Pinus all are gymnosperm. That is also not correct because Salvinia is not a gymnosperm, it is a pteridophytes. And the next is Sequoia. Sequoia is one of the tallest tree, that is the correct statement. And the fourth statement is the leaves of gymnosperm are not well adapted to extremes of climate. So we have described about this in the chapter Plant Kingdom. So among all these 4 statements, statement number 1, then statement number 2 and in fact the statement number 4 is not correctly written. So statement number 3 that states that Sequoia is one of the tallest tree. So this is the correct answer. So from these questions we have to select the correct statement. So option number 3 is the correct statement. Alright. Now let us move on to the next question. Now the next question is question number 141. Which of the following is not required for any of the techniques of DNA fingerprinting available at present? There are 4 options given: polymerase chain reaction, zinc finger analysis, third is restriction enzymes and the fourth is DNA-DNA hybridization. So this question is given from the chapter Molecular Basis of Inheritance. So in the last topic we have discussed about the DNA fingerprinting. So which among them is the incorrect statement? That is the option number 2. So zinc finger analysis is not required for any of the techniques of DNA fingerprinting, whereas the polymerase chain reaction, restriction enzyme and DNA-DNA hybridizations, this is the most important steps which are required in DNA fingerprinting. So option number 2 is the correct answer of these questions. Alright. Now let us move on to the next question. Now the next question is question number 142. Which type of tissue correctly matches with its location? There are 4 options given. In one column the tissue's name are given and in another column the locations are given. So in the first option you can see here smooth muscles, they are located in the walls of intestine. Next is areolar tissues, these are found in tendons. And next is option number 3, transitional epithelium, these are found in the tip of nose. And the fourth is cuboidal epithelium, these are found in the lining of the stomach. So these are all the names of the animal tissue that we have discussed in the chapter Structural Organizations in Animals. So which among them is correctly matched? That is the option number 1. So in the option number 1 that says the smooth muscles are located in the wall of intestine. So this is the correct answer. Now let us see the next question. Now the next question is question number 143. A plant in your garden avoid photorespiratory losses, has improved water use efficiency, shows high rates of photosynthesis at higher temperature and has improved the efficiency of nitrogen utilization. So in which of the following physiological groups would you assign this plant? Options are given: C3 plants or C4 plants or CAM plants or the nitrogen fixator. So, this is from the chapter photosynthesis in higher plants. So, what is the correct answer among this? What are the features? The features which are given in your questions and the options which are given in your questions. So, which answer it matches? That is the option number 2, C4 plants. So, C4 plants have these characters which is found in your garden. So, this is the answer, C4 plant. Now, let us see the next question. Now, the next question is question number 144. Which of the following structure is homologous to the wing of a bird? Dorsal fin of a shark, or wing of a moth, or hind limb of rabbit, or flipper of whale? So, this is from the chapter evolutions. So, we have discussed about the homologous organ and the analogous organs. So, what is the correct answer among these? Option number 4, flipper of whale. So, wing of a bird is homologous to this example, that is the flipper of whale. So, this is the correct answer. Now, let us move on to the next question. In this question number 145, you can see the question, which of the following characteristic features always holds true for the corresponding group of animals? Option number 1, cartilaginous endoskeleton, that is chondrichthyes. Next, option number 2, viviparous, mammalia. Option number 3, possess a mouth with an upper and a lower jaw, chordata. And option number 4, three-chambered heart with one incompletely divided ventricle, that is of reptilia. Now, in this 4 option, you have to select the one which are having no exception. In option number 1, you can see cartilaginous endoskeleton, that is chondrichthyes. Chondrichthyes, which means cartilaginous fishes, right? So, cartilaginous fishes, they are having cartilaginous endoskeleton, that is always right. Next, in option number 2, it is written mammalia viviparous. This is not always true, because in mammalia both oviparous and viviparous are shown. Next, number 3, possess a mouth with an upper and a lower jaw, chordata. Well, chordata have gnathostomata and agnatha. We all know about this and we have learnt this in the chapter Animal Kingdom. And the last one is option number 4, three-chambered heart with one incompletely divided ventricle, that is of the reptilia. Whereas this reptilia has an order crocodilian which are having 4-chambered heart. So, among these following 4 options, option number 2, 3 and 4, they are all having some exception, except option number 1 which state cartilaginous endoskeleton is present in the cartilaginous fishes, that is called as chondrichthyes, which mean option number 1 is the correct answer for this question. Now, let us see the next question, that is question number 146. Now, the next question is question number 146. You can see here, which of the following statement is not true for cancer cells in relation to mutations? There are 4 statements given. Mutations in proto-oncogenes accelerate the cell cycle. Next is mutations destroy the telomerase inhibitor, and the third is mutations inactivate the cell control, and the fourth is mutations inhibit the productions of telomerase. So, in the chapter Human Health and Disease, in the last topic we have discussed about the cancerous cell. So, which among them is incorrectly written or it is not true? That is of the options number 1. So, here it states that mutations in proto-oncogenes accelerate the cell cycle. So, that is not true for the cancer cells in relation to mutation. Now, let us see the next question. Now, the next question is question number 147. The amino acid tryptophan is the precursor for the synthesis of melatonin and serotonin, or thyroxine and triiodothyronine, or estrogen and progesterone, or the fourth is cortisol and cortisone. So, in the chapter Chemical Coordinations and Integrations, we have discussed about this. So, which among these is the correct answer? That is the option number 4, cortisol and cortisone. These are synthesized by the amino acid tryptophan. Okay. Now let's see the next question. Now the next question is question number 148. Following are the two statements regarding the origin of life. First statement is the earliest organism that appeared on the earth was non-green and pre-assembly anaerobes. Second statement is the first autotrophic organism were the chemoautotrophs that never released the oxygens. So these are the two statements given, and of the above statement, which one of the following options is correct? So this is from the chapter biological classifications. There we have discussed about the primitive organism, that is the bacteria, that we call as the archaebacteria, right? So among these two statements, what is the correct statement? The correct statement is statement number 1. Statement number 2 is incorrectly written. So among these four options, option number 1 is the correct answer. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the next question is question number 149. Reduction in pH of blood will reduce the rate of heartbeat or reduce the supply of blood to the brain, and the third is decrease the affinity of the hemoglobin with oxygen, and fourth is release bicarbonate ions by the liver. So in the chapter body fluids and circulations, we have discussed about this, that reduction in the pH of the blood will decrease the affinity of the hemoglobin with oxygen. So option number 3 is the correct answer. Alright. So this is the correct answer of this question. Now let's see the next question. Now the next question is question number 150. Analogous structure are a result of divergent evolution or convergent evolution or shared ancestry or the stabilizing selection. So this is a direct question from the NCERT textbook of the chapter evolution. So the analogous structures are a result of what? Are a result of shared ancestry. That means option number 3 is the correct answer. Alright. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the next question is question number 151. Which of the following is a restriction endonuclease? Hint 2, protease, DNase 1 or RNase. So these questions has given from the chapter biotechnology, its principle and process. So while discussing the rDNA technology, we have discussed the enzymes which are necessary for the technique. The restriction endonuclease that we have discussed there was the option number 1, that is the hint 2. Always remember, while pronouncing this restriction endonuclease, we have to pronounce like this: hint, then D and 2. So this is the restriction endonuclease, and the other options are not the restriction endonuclease. So option number 1 is the correct answer. Now let's see the next question. Now the next question is question number 152. The term ecosystem was coined by E.P. Odum, A.G. Tansley or E. Haeckel or E. Worming. Well, this is a very easy question and it has directly come from the NCERT textbook of the chapter ecosystem. So the term ecosystem was coined by A.G. Tansley, which means option number 2 is the correct answer of these questions. Alright. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the next question is question number 153. Which one of the following statement is wrong? There are 4 options given. First statement is sucrose is a disaccharide. Second statement is cellulose is a polysaccharide. Third is uracil is a pyrimidine, and the fourth is glycine is a sulfur containing amino acid. So in the chapter biomolecules, we have described the structure of all these components which are given in this following statement. So which among them is incorrectly written? That is the option number 4. So option number 4 is the incorrect statement, whereas the option number 1 and 2 and 3 is the correct statement. Now let's move on to the next question. Now the next question is question number 154. In bryophytes and pteridophyte, transport of male gametes require wind, insect, birds or water. Well, this is a very easy questions, and in the chapter Plant Kingdom we have discussed about this, that bryophytes and pteridophytes require water for their fertilizations. So, among these 4 options, option number 4 is the correct answer, which means water is required by the bryophytes and pteridophyte to transport the male gametes to the female gametes and ultimately for the fertilization process. So, option number 4 is the correct answer. Now, let us move on to the next question. Now, the next question is question number 155. When does the growth rate of a population following the logistic model equals 0? The logistic model is given as dn by dt is equal to Rn bracket 1 minus n divided by k, and the options are given. First option is when n divided by k is exactly 1. Second option is when n nears the carrying capacity of the habitat, and third is when n is divided with k equals 0, and fourth option is when the death rate is greater than the birth rate. So, this is from the chapter Organisms and Populations. So, while discussing that chapter we have got this model that is called as the logistic model, and there we have got this equation, and there we have got this equation. So, which among them is the correct answer? That is the option number 1. So, when n divided by k is equal 1, then the growth rate of a population follows the logistic model, which is equal to 0. Now, let us see the next question. Now, the next question is question number 156. Which one of the following statement is not true? There are 4 statements given. First is tapetum helps in the dehiscence of anther. Second is exine of pollen grains is made up of sporopollenin. Third is pollen grains of many species cause severe allergies, and the fourth is stored pollen in liquid nitrogen can be used in the crop breeding programs. So, this has directly come from the chapter Sexual Reproductions in the Flowering Plants. So, while discussing about the microsporogenesis, there we have got the 4 anther layer, that is the tapetum, then sporopollenin, then middle layer and the outer layer. So, in the first option it is given that tapetum helps in the dehiscence of anther. Is this a correct statement? No. So, what should be the correct statement of it? That tapetum helps in providing nutrition to the developing embryo, that we have discussed in that chapter. So, among these 4 options, option number 1 is incorrectly written. So, option number 1 is the correct answer of this question. Now, let us see the next question. Now, the next question is question number 157. Which of the following should appear as the pioneer organisms on bare rocks? Is that lichen, liverworts, mosses or green algae? This is a very easy question and it has come from the chapter Ecosystem. So, which among them is the correct answer of this question? That is the option number 1, lichens. So, lichen is the correct answer and they appear as the pioneer organisms on the bare rocks. Now, let us see the next question. Now, the next question is question number 158. Which one of the following is the starter codon? Options are given: AUG or UGA or UAA or UAG. So, this questions has given from the chapter Molecular Basis of Inheritance and this is a very easy question, right? So, while discussing about the translation process, we have got the initiating codon, that is the AUG. So, among these 4 options, so option number 1, that is AUG, which is considered as the initiating codon. So, AUG is considered as the initiating codon and it is also called as the starter codon. So, option number 1 is the correct answer of it. Now, let us see the next question. Now, the next question is question number 159. Which one of the following characteristic is not shared by birds and mammals? 4 options are given. ossified endoskeleton, or breathing using lungs, or viviparity, or warm-blooded nature. So, these are the 4 options given, and this questions has given from the chapter Animal Kingdom. So, which among these is the correct answer? That is the option number 3, viviparity. So, that is the correct answer.
We know in capacitor current leads the voltage, but how much? It cannot be 1 by 180 degree direct. Here the current leads the voltage, therefore the average power consumed in the whole circuit will be 0. So, over a full cycle the capacitor C does not consume any energy if the power is 0.